My first thoughts are for the people of Tree of Life, those who have died, those who knew them, those who loved them, the community that was gathered there, as well as the law enforcement officials who have suffered losses of their own. We grieve with you, we mourn with you, and we pray with you that you will find places for both healing and for mourning. And we are with you in whatever way we can be as you work to restore the sanctuary that has been lost in your sacred space. This mass shooting represents not just the loss of life, but a loss of safety, a loss of certainty. Not just for those at Tree of Life who will be working hard in the process of restoring that sense of sanctuary to their sacred space, but for all of us who have seen the escalating violence, the escalating rhetoric of hate and exclusion. So this is a breaking event. We don't know a lot of details. We certainly don't know a lot about the motivations of the individual who carried out this act. But we are not so naive that we can't recognize the correlation between escalating violence in rhetoric and escalating violence in action. It is true that a mass shooting such as this is the work of individuals, but no individual exists in a vacuum. Our first thoughts are for Tree of Life and for those who have lost people that they love. But our second thoughts, at least my second thoughts, and perhaps yours as well, go to the heated rhetorical climate that we live in. Words have consequences. Words can harm, words can heal. Words can inspire us to action, both brilliant and brave, and violent and desecrating. It feels ever more important now to be who we are at Northwoods, to be a community that is inclusive, to be a community that challenges hateful and divisive ideology in both word and in deed. I'm honored to be the minister of such a congregation, and I'm honored to work with many individuals, both locally and around the nation, to try and turn the tide in whatever small or large ways are possible towards hope, towards restoration, towards healing. But right now, we are in a moment of grief, perhaps even anger. Anger, I think, is a completely acceptable reaction. I've certainly had myself this morning. But also just sorrow, deep, deep sorrow, not just for the loss of life in this instance, but for our country, for our world. It seems hard for me to understand how we can ignore the correlation between invitations to violence and acts of violence. And yet a good portion of our country seems determined not to make that connection. So today, as we grieve and mourn, as we rage against a violent society, it becomes ever more important to hold close to us the things that we know to be true, that we are all connected, that diversity is strength, and that we cannot do this unless we do it together.